you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell, you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil. A veil that is beyond our own comprehension. Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
Right, it's episode 133, and today we're going to be talking about a brand new movie that just came out. It's a 2019 remake called Pet Sematary. You might have heard of it. You might have hated the trailer. We're going to dive into that today. So, are you excited, Brittany?
Yeah.
Yeah. So convincing, as always. No. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe. But
sounds great.
Just to give you guys a heads up, we're going to be doing a spoiler-free review first, as we always do. And then we'll give you plenty of warning before we jump into any spoilers. And we mean it. We're really not going to spoil anything. So if you're hearing this now and you're like, oh shit, why did I play this? Just hang in there.
Calm down.
But yeah, it's funny. Like I was talking to somebody today and they were like, yeah, I sometimes listen to the spoiler section, you know? And I was like, it's okay. Like, because I'm always like so adamant about being like, don't listen, you piece of shit. I think some people just really don't care. But for me, I care.
Right.
Do you?
If people spoil shit for me, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Do you care if somebody spoils it for you?
Oh, yeah. I get kind of annoyed.
I'm sure we would get hate mail if we didn't give you any warning or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't like spoiling stuff for other people either.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, we warned you and you kept listening.
It's your fucking
It's
fault.
on you.
By the way, you had a birthday this past weekend. You had a birthday celebration. How'd it go?
I was like, we've already talked about my birthday.
Yeah, but you just had a celebration, like a party. Oh, did we talk about that last time?
I don't know. My birthday
Was it
party
this past
awesome.
weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
It was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, what'd you do? Like, what happened? I'm sorry I couldn't make it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking, I streamed pretty late, and then I was like, oh, God. Mm-hmm. There's no way. Hey, I spend more time with you than I do my own girlfriend, okay?
So that's not true.
All right, it's probably not, but...
Fuck off.
So, no, seriously, tell me what happened. Well, what'd you do? Like, anything cool happened? Or you don't remember? Are you too drunk?
No, I didn't get that drunk.
Really?
Yeah, I was good. I don't like getting wasted.
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but I don't like to feel nauseous. I don't like to get sick, so
Right.
I moderate myself.
We gotta balance it. You're not supposed to just get wrecked.
Yeah, so I drank. I did the thing. Got
Yeah.
a lap dance from two really hot women.
I saw that. Yeah.
So that was bomb. Yeah, it was a good time. Everybody had fun. That's all that really matters to me. So, because everybody that came had a good time.
But happy birthday, and mine's coming up now too, and I really just don't have any idea what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna stream, guys. So if you're listening to this and you want to come visit me on Saturday, well, it'll have already passed. What am I talking about? So I'm probably gonna stream, but nobody will know this until afterwards.
Yeah. I was like,
So after it happens,
post on Facebook.
if you have a time machine, though, you've missed out on me getting drunk and shenanigans. So it's going to be amazing. But yeah, I have no idea. My birthday is technically the day before this aired episode. So Sunday. And I'm not going to tell anyone how old I am anymore because I really don't even, to be honest, I forget. That's how bad it is now. I think I'm 70. I don't know.
70?
I don't remember.
This is fine.
Anyways, I think it might be that time.
Time to get wasted! Horrorshots!
This Horrorshot is dedicated to the movie, obviously, that we're going to be talking about, which is Pet Sematary, the 2019 version. And in both the original and this one, they talk about the sour ground. This time, of course, it's John Lithgow and the fucking, whatever.
The other guy, yeah.
Pascal. But yeah, they talk about the stony of a heart. A man's heart is stonier. The ground is sour. It's Fred Gwynn, though. You don't want to go down that path. Down there, that's a pet cemetery down there.
Don't go down that road.
I fucking love that. Don't go down that road now.
Sometimes dead is better.
Sometimes dead is better.
So much better than John Lithgow.
Oh, you spoiling it already, Brittany.
Spoiling nothing.
Anyway, guys, so today we're going to be doing a shot based on Pet Sematary, and obviously there's some good ingredients, I think. So our 3 ingredients today for a sour ground is what we're calling it, because the ground is sour. It's De Serrano, which is basically amaretto liqueur. We have watermelon vodka, Smirnoff, and a little Daikipier pucker sour apple, basically. It's just schnapps. So I figured the best way to do this, because I want to make it sour, I wanted to make it sour, and obviously this is going to be sour, but I also wanted it to be a little brown, because the ground, So we got about a half a shot of the watermelon vodka. This is great. We're going to have plenty of this extra. Woo! Almost spit the fucking... I almost tipped it over, dude. Do you see my face? Dude, it the shot, the half a shot tipped just enough that it didn't spill and then fell back because of the momentum of the liquid. Laugh it up, Chuckles! Laugh it up, Brittany!
It was so good.
So, half a shot of the watermelon smeared off. Then you're going to put about a fourth of the De Serrano. Fucking giggles the fucking monkey over here. All right, and then you're going to top it off with your pucker sour apple schnapps. I guess it's schnapps, right?
Schnapps. I don't know. I don't think so.
Sour apple, whatever the fuck.
It's just liqueur.
That's how you get your sour ground. Oh, I wouldn't advise burying your friends or anybody out in the fucking cemetery. We'll explain that later. But here you go, Brittany. So, and to one of our friends, old friends that used to do a podcast, we'll say the famous words of Gwen, which you mentioned. What we're going to do when we take this, before we take this, we're going to be like, don't go down that road. All right? You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Don't go down that road, piece of shit. Woo! That was
good. I want another one.
You want another one? Okay.
Yeah. That watermelon vodka is very watermelon-y. It's very watermelon-y, sir. That's real.
De Serrano. Pour it in. Have a good time.
It's basically just sugar. Congratulations.
Yeah, have a good sugar.
Have a good sugar.
Would you like... Then you're going to put some fucking sugar cubes in the top, make it crunchy for the ground.
What?
You don't want to go down that road. You don't want to take too many here.
You're cut off.
Don't go down that road, Brittany.
You know what, Alex? Sometimes dead is better.
Here you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Don't go down that road.
You say row.
Road.
Don't go down that road.
Road.
Row.
What does he pronounce the D? Don't go down that road. All right. You happy, Brittany? Anyway, guys, now that we've completely broken your brains into wondering why we are still going.
We have no listeners anymore.
Yeah, they all left. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. I blame Brittany.
It's probably my fault anyway. Let's be honest here.
Anyways, if you guys want to check out a sour ground, all you have to do is go to longlivthevoid.com and check out our hashtag Horrorshot section right fucking now. Well, that's it for Horrorshots.
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 Horrorshots. That's better. Sometimes.
I can't walk anymore now that cage kid there cut my ankle and it's all fucked up.
Achilles tendon.
I tried to kick it in the head and he just didn't move.
Tried to kick him in the head.
I tried to kick him right in the face. He just fell down and came back just like a spring.
Like a spring.
Then he climbed up in that there attic and hung his mommy.
Good God.
Tried to kick that little bastard right in the face, and he just...
In the face.
All right, guys, so now we're going to go ahead and jump into our spoiler-free review, our flesh and potatoes of Pet Sematary from 2019.
Right fucking now.
All right, guys, so you heard
Bird's the word.
that this movie might have been good or bad. I don't know what you heard, actually. I've heard good and I've heard bad. So it's been kind of like...
It's in the middle.
It's in the middle lately, but we're going to do our best to do a spoiler-free review, obviously, of Pet Sematary, kind of compare it to the original movie. I would have loved to compare it to the book, but from what I hear, guys, just a heads up, I don't think anybody thought it was like the book. Like,
Yeah.
there's very few parts. Like, everything's all kind of, like, different.
Yeah. I mean, I read the book when I was 12, so I don't remember shit anymore.
And we're going to tell you if that's a good thing.
I'm
So,
old.
you went first last time for us, so I'm going to do...
Yeah, I want to know your thoughts anyway.
Yeah, I want to spill it out.
I was going to come in here and start screaming at you
Yeah, why the fuck did you make me watch this fucking movie?
to tell me your thoughts first.
Oh, okay.
Stop.
So
Stop trying to put words in my mouth, fool.
so what we'll do is we're going to tell our thoughts first, and then we're going to go into some of the like spoiler section after. We'll tell you plenty of time. Don't worry. So let me preface this by saying, after watching the original movie again, I watched it yesterday. I do realize that it has its flaws. Okay, like I know some people are like, "Oh my god, this is the holy grail of fucking Stephen King," and I'm like, the movie's not that good. It's a good movie. I love it. I own it. I've watched it a million times, but there are flaws to it. But it's probably because I've seen it too many times, honestly. Like, now I can pick it apart. But also, I didn't get a chance to read the book, like I mentioned, so we're not going to be referencing that too much. If we did, we probably would have had Josh come on again for our Pet Sematary remake, which we should have, but he's in the process of moving anyway, so... I've also not been a fan of the trailer because it felt flat. And it wasn't what I thought it could or should be, maybe. Just felt like it didn't have that atmosphere that I really was hoping for from a more modern telling of this story. And then there's, the whole heavy trailer spoiler thing, too, was like, fuck you, okay? So
Yeah.
for those of you unfortunate enough to have caught the trailer and then had the movie ruined for you for the most part, I'm sorry. But for those of you that don't, we won't be spoiling what was in that trailer in the spoiler-free section here, so don't worry. I made it a point, just because I know a lot of friends who did not watch the trailer because of what they had heard from other people. So, with that said, I went into this film with very, very low expectations. Like, legitimately, like, I was trying to get myself psyched up by watching the original. And, like, I wanted to get into it, but I wasn't sure what I was going to think, and I was kind of not expecting much, so my expectations were low. The first act of the film, I was kind of displeased with things. I felt like they were kind of rushing it. It felt like it was just passing the check marks. Oh, there we did that, and it just kind of missed some of the cadence and some of the heartfelt kind of stuff. But I will say this, even though it did that, and it kind of rushed through in the very first act, it wasn't until the second act where it kind of won back my interest a little bit and my attention, I feel they did a better job of explaining away, like, some of the, shitty choices they made in the original film that didn't really explain why they were doing this. And in this film, I think they did a pretty good job of kind of explaining why they did things. They changed it, because, like, if you watch the first film, it's like, really, Judd? Why? Why would you do that? And we'll get into that in the spoiler section, so just buckle the fuck up, all right? Some of the original was flimsy at best explaining away certain, like, loopholes, like, or, plot holes, or whatever you want to call it. I will say that the acting, I think, in this movie is better acting overall than the original. Like, the actors are actually pretty heartfelt. The original one, kind of, I've said it before, it felt like a TV movie in a way. Like, do you know what I mean? Do you agree?
A little bit.
Feels like it's a TV movie almost, but, like, the story's so compelling that it's interesting enough to keep you going anyway. And there is some really good stuff in the original, but for this one, I just felt like the parents, they're way more relatable in their roles than the original, and it's just way more believable in general. Like, it just feels a little bit better. Do I like the characters as much? Maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's like two different movies here. I felt like the original was a little stiff. Anyway, John Lithgow, who replaces Fred Gwynne, did a really decent job. I wouldn't say that it was the same kind of performance. It's a little bit more colder and more removed sometimes. I don't know if it was as believable and heartfelt as like Gwen was, because it's pretty hard to surpass Gwen's performance in the original, in my opinion, because pretty much he's the best thing.
He is the best thing
in that movie.
Besides Gage.
And maybe Pascal, the character.
Oh, Pascal's cool too.
Pascal was really charismatic in the first film.
I really liked him. Yeah.
A lot of people don't mention him.
I always forget about him too, which is weird.
Something about Fred Gwynne, though, and his character of Judd is just very endearing. And it's not that, like, Lithgow did bad or anything like that. It's just that I just felt a little overshadowed by Gwyn, you know? But those are some pretty big shoes to fill, so I don't blame him. I think he did a good job. Christina thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, it's John Lithgow. He's a good actor.
Right.
I like most of the things that he's in. And
think about it. They both had TV shows, hit TV shows,
right,
like Fred Gwynne and him, where it was comedy. You know, The Munsters, and then Third Rock.
Right. So
From the Sun. Sorry.
It's you know. But I agree, because I felt like his character was more cold.
Yeah, right? It is. It's a little harsh, like a little more weathered.
Yeah. More weathered is probably a better way to describe him, but he definitely feels cold.
But
I didn't
Ellie
feel that connection.
Now, this is something that we kind of briefly mentioned before we started recording, guys, but we'll try to keep it fresh because she didn't go into details because I cut her short. So it's just to mention, like, we watch these movies and immediately want to talk about them, so we have to wait until we do this podcast. So it's really hard. But Ellie, who was played by Jette Lawrence, I feel personally stole the show. She did a really good job in this movie without really spoiling anything to those who may not have seen the trailer. Let's just say I think she did a damn good job for a child actor or actress in this particular case. So, but also the kid who played Gage, I thought, did a pretty decent job. You know, he seemed younger than the original Gage, but I don't think he was as good as the original Gage. The original Gage, to me, is just something about that kid, man.
He and Fred Gwynne are the best part of Pet Sematary.
That's a really good point. I mean, I definitely agree because, like, I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen the original, but... Yeah,
and now I have a completely different feeling on what part or who's the best part of this one.
Yeah, let's just put it this way, there's a lot of changes in this movie, so it's kind of hard not to step on, like, spoilery territory without saying it, but I think they did some interesting stuff with Gage that wasn't too bad. I kind of enjoyed his little moments that they had, which are very few. If you know the first movie, you'll know the character Pascal, who we mentioned earlier, and they did some weird shit with him in the movie that some I liked and loved, but most of it I hated. Like, in the original fucking Pet Sematary, Pascal, like we mentioned, is just such a character.
He is.
It is just so, there's something, like, creepy and weird about him, and yes, it was creepy in this movie, but I'll get into that more in the spoilers section.
He's not as charismatic.
There was a particular scene with Gage and Pascal that I loved in this film.
Yeah.
But either way, you know, the movie has a lot more twists to the keep it fresh. Ones I liked that delve into being dead a little bit more as well than the original. Sort of reminded me of Part 2, the original Part 2, in some ways, not a lot, but I feel like it is a good thing. I think they even upped the gore a little too in one infamous scene from the original.
Yes.
And they also dig a little deeper into Mrs. Creed too, which I think was a really nice touch, actually, and I liked it. I thought it was a welcomed addition. Did it scare me, though? Not really at all. But the story's just so interesting, so it's really kind of wraps you up in it. So, and especially if you already know it, you're just waiting for the shit to hit the fan, pretty much. Even if at times, you know, it did feel a little too familiar in the beginning, because the beginning really was where I was like, I just put it on the fucking coals and I was like, all right, let's see how you're going to cook, motherfucker. Like, you better fucking do it well, because I am not expecting much from you right now. So you better fucking perform and you better do it well. But there is some atmosphere in this movie, and I think some of the like cinematography and some of the like design that they did with like the fogs and stuff like that, they kind of built this atmosphere that was not in the original. It wasn't as present, like the evil that they talk about in the books and in the first film is kind of missing from the first film a little bit. And this one kind of brings it in, which is cool. I thought that was a good thing. But all in all, some of the changes I definitely think are good changes, and some of the acting is far superior, even if it's rushed in the beginning. Some of it's not. I'm a little surprised by the film in general, though, because like I said, I'm surprised that this film, I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to enjoy it.
That's fair, because I felt the same way. Like I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Right.
But
is it great though? That's what we're gonna fucking try to break down. And I know this is a little long-winded, but I really just have a lot of thoughts about it, and that means that I care about the film. So that's a good thing. I think if you go into this film with an open mind and you don't bring your original movies or the book with you, the book or the original movie's pearls, and like clutch them too hard, I think that you will have a pretty damn good experience, a very good experience, better than average. And I don't know. I think both these films are very different beasts in the end. And if you're a fan of the original, I think that this one, it pretty much hits the same fucking level in different areas than the first film did. Like, it's like night and day. Like, yeah, it's the same story, but they're very different. And they feel very different. I mean, even the first movie doesn't scare me. It never scared me when I was a kid that much. Maybe the kid part, like the Gage kid. But this one's a little bit, it's just different. I don't know how to explain it. So I think this is like hits about a 7 for me, like right on the nose, maybe a little bit more because I've been kind of happy about my experience. So it makes me want to give it a higher score. But I think 7 is a good number because like I'm not screaming at the rooftops about it. Maybe a 7.5 at the most. So for those of you who are interested in seeing the movie, I don't think it's like a 6.5 average right now, or a 6 on the top critics, and I think it's even lower for the regular people. Probably. Which I think is partially to do, and let me just say this one last thing for you guys. Like, look, if you're a fan of the original source material, totally cool. But really, just take those glasses off and just go into it expecting a kind of a different feel. You know what I mean? It'll take a little while to get there, but when it does, it definitely feels like the beginning was kind of rushed just to get to the good stuff. The end and the third act, probably the middle of the second act on, is pretty much where it sold me. So I think if you give it a chance, you guys will enjoy it. But what about you, Brittany?
So I'm with you on the fact of where I feel it's very different.
Yeah.
This is a very different take on Pet Sematary. So the best, just like Alex said, the best thing to do is to go into it and do your very best to not bring the book and the original movie with you when you watch it. Just try to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Try not to look and be very nitpicky about everything. And it's hard to do, It was difficult for me to do it.
Right.
And even though I remember basically nothing.
Well, especially because we watched it
not that long ago.
Just a couple days ago,
I watched it too.
Yeah.
And I watched it yesterday.
Yeah.
Or day before yesterday. So even though I watched it a couple months ago, I was just like, and I've seen it 1,000 times. But
that's not a perfect film.
No, and I am pretty positive when we reviewed this movie originally.
Yeah, with Josh,
I said this isn't my favorite film.
Right.
Like, Pet Sematary is not my favorite of Stephen King. It's just not.
I didn't even listen to our old podcast. I was curious.
I know, I almost did too.
But I'm not worried because I don't really make shit up. So I'm not worried about it.
I feel like that was my opinion overall. I mean, I love it. It's a classic. I feel like everyone has to enjoy it in some way, shape, or form. Like, any horror fan has to have some kind of feeling that's positive towards it.
Sure.
So it was still a little difficult for me to go into this and not be thinking about, the originals or what I remember from the book and how the story should proceed, and not get frustrated when it doesn't proceed the way that it should, or the way that I expect it to, and just let their creativity that's unfolding in front of me just kind of flow throughout me and pay attention.
Yeah.
And it's a difficult thing to do, and I know it's a lot to ask of people, but try.
Well, it's like
I don't know.
Even in the original, they like I was mentioning, like, did you feel that there was like they did a better job of covering some of those, like, now why would they have done that kind of thing?
What I
from the original
for this remake, the remake flows better for me.
Okay.
I think it flows better story-wise. I think it tells the story more strongly than the original does. It clears up a lot of untied ends, and it's a more solid telling of the story. Even though it's way different than the original story, it still tells it a little more clearly and concisely.
Okay.
So, which I appreciated, because there's a lot of pieces in the original movie where I watched it and I'm like, what? Why is this shit with her sister important? Why is this part important? Who the fuck is this bitch that hangs herself? I don't understand what the fuck is going on.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying. The original has a lot of bits and pieces about it where I feel like if you're not very in tune with the book, maybe that's where the disconnection is.
Sure.
But still, like, I look at it and even now when I watch it and I'm like, I still don't really get these plot holes or these different things that are coming around in this story, and I look at it and I'm like, this is not explained well. This isn't tied in well. It doesn't flow.
Well, Mrs. Creed's character in the first one was definitely very slim. Very slim.
Rachel?
The Mrs. of the family, the Creeds, in the original. I don't know what her name is. Yeah, Rachel, Amy.
The mom of the two kids.
Yeah. Or Rachel is the name of the mother, yeah.
Yeah, Rachel. I liked Rachel in the first one, though.
Oh, I didn't hate her or anything. I just felt like she didn't have a big enough part.
She didn't have a big enough part.
Like,
That's
they didn't
why
even traipse on it.
I actually really appreciated the fact that they gave her a bigger-ish role in this one.
Right. Like, they really get into her a little bit.
And they stayed away from some stuff that kind of annoyed me in the original, too.
Okay.
With this one, and then that I appreciated a little bit. But this is a very, very, very different movie.
Yeah, it's hard not to spoil, guys.
It's a very different version. Very fucking different.
Well,
like,
we talked about this earlier. Like, you said that because I asked you, I was like, okay, a lot of people are going to make comparisons to It, Chapter 1, just because it's another Stephen King movie that's a big budget movie, right?
Right.
What do you think? Do you think that this is different, more different than what Chapter 1 did?
Quite honestly, I don't know. Because I feel like...
As far as remakes go, you know what I mean?
As far as remakes go, and this is based on just from what I remember from the books.
Okay.
I feel like the remake of It followed things a little bit
more
better.
Yeah.
More closely, than this.
Okay.
So, but this one just has one major plot difference.
Yeah.
That throws it for me.
Yeah.
Like, right
Don't
away.
Don't mention where.
I'm not going to, but it completely throws me, like... tosses you out the fucking window.
Okay.
Right away. And then, like, there's another major plot twist, too, but then it's, like, it's almost touched on. It's something that happens in the original, but it's, like, embellished more.
Right.
But that one ended up working for me in the end.
Okay.
In a way, but, like, the one doesn't.
So you're, like, 50-50 with some of the changes.
50-50. Like,
okay.
I don't love it, but I don't hate it. So
okay.
I am very much down the middle of the road with this movie.
Okay, so...
I really enjoy certain things about it, whereas other things I'm just kind of meh. Mm-hmm. But I appreciate the fact that this actually had moments that were kind of scary, whereas the original does not scare me
right. Okay.
at all.
Fair enough.
Nothing about it is frightening to me.
This one kind of had a haunted house feel to it.
This one did have a haunted
yeah.
house feel to it. And what I loved so much and really appreciated is that they did some fucking magic, wondrous things with sound. Mm-hmm. In this movie,
yeah, that was some. Yeah,
they amped up the shit. The
whispery thing.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
and it worked really, really well. Like
right off the bat, too. The movie starts and you're
instantly,
just like,
yeah, and it was incredible. They just did marvelous shit with sound in this, and it's something that you have to appreciate. Even if you walk out of this movie not liking it,
okay,
you have to appreciate the fact that they did a really good job in trying to make it eerie and scary and creepy and trying to give it something more.
Okay.
Than what was given to you in the original movie.
So you like the acting then, or?
I'm so on the acting.
Okay.
I liked Rachel.
Compared to the original, though.
Yes, compared to the original, it's almost entirely 1,000% better.
Okay.
It does feel like the original feels like a TV movie.
It really
This
does.
one feels like a actual feature film.
Yeah.
The Mr. Creed isn't that convincing to me in a lot of parts. I don't know. I liked him, but I didn't like him. I liked Rachel. The actress that plays Rachel, I felt was really good, and I thought she was strong. Why are you staring at me weird?
No, I'm just thinking about like the two different Mr. Creeds from both movies.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I
I
thought
kind
he
of
was-
didn't like the original guy so much.
I didn't either.
That felt like he was fake.
But this guy, well, I felt the same
But
about
then
this one too.
Yeah, but this one, he was a little too stoic.
They both feel fake.
a little
to
stoic
Me.
for me.
Yeah, like they both just feel weird and fake, but
Okay.
I don't know. Like I'm kind of torn between the two. Like I feel like they both irritate me in the same ways. So I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I didn't like him in the original movie either. So it's
Okay.
just like I just don't like that character. Period. So period. End of the sentence. Fuck Mr. Creed.
Yeah.
Lewis Creed. Whatever. Rachel. I really liked Rachel in the original.
Okay.
I like the actress that plays
Well, I
her.
love the actress. Yes, she's in
incredible.
A few things too. Yeah.
She's really fucking good, and she's super
She's
solid
pretty,
as that.
and she's
she
like-
is, but she's super
She's
solid.
got
as that
resting
character.
bitch face though. Me and Christina kept saying
Yeah,
that
she
when we were
does.
watching. She was like, "Damn, her resting bitch face is fucking
But
on point."
she's solid as fuck as that character, and we don't have as much interaction with her in the original as we do in the remake. In the remake, we get more Rachel.
Right. Yeah, which I
And
like. I really like.
I like the actress that plays Rachel.
Yeah, she shows the side of what I think Rachel really
Should have been.
should have been. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too. What do you think you would give this?
There's no comparison for me when it comes to Judd. So.
Well, you said okay, so the original Judd's better. Fred Gwynn's best.
Yes.
What about Ellie? Did you like Ellie?
So I liked Ellie. I like the Ellie in the remake better than the Ellie in the original, but that's because the Ellie in the original annoys me.
Christina says the same thing.
She annoys the shit out of me.
She was like, "Please kill her."
Yes. She's fucking whiny.
I thought she
and
was
her,
cute.
her fake crying, and it's frustrating. Her acting's horrible, and I don't like it.
Really?
And I thought she's irritating. Like I try not to
Why
feel
do you
that
hate
way
children,
towards
Brittany?
a child. I know, and I feel bad. I try not to have that much animosity towards a child, but I'm just like, ew, kill it.
Childomosity. It's
Like
terrible.
childomosity, like it's a bad color on me, but I don't like her. I didn't.
Christina hates her too.
This one though, in the remake, I don't like her either. At one point,
Really? Okay.
I enjoy her for the most part. She's a good actress. She plays a solid character.
I loved her.
But there's just at one point in the movie, I'm just like, meh.
I would give her acting probably like an 8
Yeah, she's overall
for a child actor or
absolutely.
more. You
Overall,
know,
she's solid as fuck.
like I thought. Like I don't want to spoil it because we can't say
exactly. That's why
Yeah.
I'm being careful with what I say.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, the original Gage is
Just gonna win always.
he wins
His
everything.
eyes, his words, how he
He wins
says
everything.
things,
He's the cutest fucking thing in the world.
and the creepiest in the original.
He's not creepy. I don't find him creepy, but
Okay.
he's just adorable.
So-
So I just want to pick him up and hug him.
So if
I
you
don't
had to
care
give
if he's
this a
gonna stab me.
score, though,
I'm with you, except I would be more at 6.5 to 7,
okay,
whereas you're 7 to 7.5.
okay, yeah, I'm
I'm
still on the fence. I would need to see it again.
I am at 6.5 to 7. So
Yeah. Well, that's
I
fair.
don't know. I honestly, like, my favorite things about this movie experience were the trailer for Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the full first theatrical trailer, which, holy fuck balls, you guys better get ready.
Oh, you
for
haven't
me.
seen it yet?
No,
Okay,
I had
yeah.
seen it. I watched it already.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? I'm following that shit like crazy, Alex. I'm so stoked.
Well, we'll be doing that too
But
when it comes
I had
out.
watched it, but I was like, I didn't know I would actually get to see it.
So that was the most memorable thing out of the whole fucking movie.
Those
is
are the
it?
things I was most excited about. And also the cat.
Okay. Oh yeah. What did you think
Church
of the cat?
was amazing.
I thought it was good, but
They
it
had
reminded me of my
4
cat. It was kind of
Yeah.
sad.
They had 4
Suspiria.
fucking cats.
Did you remember Suspiria?
I love Suspiria. Are you
She was
kidding me?
amazing.
She's great. 4 fucking cats played church.
I kept telling Christina in the movie theater, I was like, I miss the purse.
I didn't like the fact that they changed the breed of cat. That annoyed me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that the original cat was probably a little bit better in certain scenes,
In certain scenes.
where I was a little proven wrong in other scenes. So
Yeah,
it's
but
kind
this
of like a
cat, like,
toss up.
and apparently these cats were divas on set, which is great. I love it. 4 fucking cats played church.
They come out with a fucking diamond necklace,
Super cute.
like dropping hundreds out of their pocket.
They're adorable.
Put a little
And
food on it.
the cat stole the show for me. The
Okay.
cat was my favorite character.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. All right. You're out of your
Church
mind.
is my favorite character. He's just like, he's so great.
Well,
He's so cute. Like I almost think I like this church better.
Interesting.
Which is weird because I am annoyed that they changed the breed of the cat. But,
Okay.
Which is a stupid thing to be annoyed about, but I am. I feel
I
like
was
Pet
a little
Sematary-
annoyed when I saw the trailer. I'll be
Pet
honest. I
Sematary
was like,
is like it's a Russian blue.
right. That's
Church
what
is
Christina
a Russian
said.
blue.
Yeah.
Like leave him as a Russian blue.
Well, they wanted to make it their own thing, and I don't think it was a horrible choice.
It's not. The cat's super fucking
There's
cute.
just some things about its eyes and things like that
the whole
that
time
kind
I
of
was
bother
like,
me.
kitty.
But
Yeah, they didn't do the
cool shit.
The cool eye thing
Right, yeah.
very often, which was weird. It was only in like select moments, which
Don't get into it.
yeah, I don't know. I thought that was frustrating.
All right, guys. So, what do you think? Like, what do you think? Was this like, it make you interested to see the movie? Is this kind of touching on some points that were made you kind of sit on the fence? You know, for those of you who have not seen the movie yet and are still on the fence of whether or not you want to go pay the fucking $7 to $10 to go see it. You know, we try to be as spoiler free as we can. It's really hard. I would advise that if you haven't seen the movie, to come back and check out the spoiler section that we're going to be doing next. To kind of discuss some of our favorite scenes, some of the things they did right or wrong, and kind of really break down the movie into our spoiler section. And we're going to go ahead and sound the alarm for that right now.
Please do not listen to this if you have not seen the movie. That's right, please do not listen after this. If you have not seen the movie, you will indefinitely ruin your experience. Thank you, and have a nice apocalypse.
So we are back, and it's time to jump into our spoiler section. So if you don't want the movie ruined for you, you don't want to listen past this. I have a few questions and things that we can line up since I got to go first on my original initial thoughts. Is there anything that you kind of want to talk about that you want to bring up maybe that you liked about this or disliked about this film right off the bat?
Yeah, the biggest thing I want to talk about that I dislike about it, why the fuck did they change the kid who gets killed?
Yeah.
Why is it the fucking girl and not Gage?
I don't mind the change because it went a little deeper than the original, but I think you went a little... maybe we shouldn't jump into that just yet.
No, we're doing it. It's too late.
You think?
We're there.
All right.
That's
Well,
everybody's-
hopefully
that
you
is
guys aren't
everyone's
listening.
qualm with this movie. I can guarantee it. That is
Yeah.
everybody's issue.
I don't know if it's an issue, though. Like, I don't feel like it's an issue because, like, yes... like, I look at it this way.
That
We have
changes
if
the
you
story
like the original,
entirely.
you have the original. There's no reason to do a record and quarantine version of remake of it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's-
where you just hit every single beat the same. So if it's not different, I would have been upset. But
No,
the
I
fact
don't-
that they spoiled it in the trailer, however,
That's bullshit.
is fucked up because I would have enjoyed this movie better.
I don't know. That's a big change. That's a big fucking difference.
Yeah.
And I understand the choices and the reasoning, whatever the reasoning is. This is the things that I struggle with when they call movies remakes or they're marketing them as remakes
Right.
of an original film, but then it's vastly different.
But I don't think it's
And
that. I
get-
think Chapter 1 is vastly different than
and
this.
I understand where you're coming from there too, and it's like I see why you don't want to follow everything to the fucking T. You want to make original choices, original decisions, explore something a little bit different,
Right.
reach some other fucking boundaries, whatever. Fine, I get that, but this is vastly fucking different in comparison from the movie and the book.
Okay.
Like you completely
Well, what
switched.
specifically?
You completely switched the kid.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you mean. Okay.
Yes, like that's a big fucking difference. And I'm like, is it because you couldn't find a child actor to play?
I mean,
Gage?
they pretty much struck fucking gold with fucking the first kid.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like having
fucking
kids.
incredible.
Yeah. And I, to be honest, I thought the Gage in this, even though they didn't use him like they did the
He was
original,
good.
I thought he was good. Like that whole scene with him and Pascal.
Great.
Like where he's looking over his mother's shoulder, like in a way, like I don't know how they got him to act that way, but he did look genuinely scared, and I thought that was cool.
It
like,
was cool.
You could tell that they did some voice dubbing for the child.
Yeah, but I mean, I almost felt like that at the original too.
But you know what? I think the switch is kind of cool because I mentioned this in the spoiler-free part, but like it kind of has elements of part 2, and what I mean by that is that they actually have this dialogue with the dead kid.
Yeah.
You know, not just like, I want to play with you, Daddy. I had a good time. We had a grand old time.
Laughing and yeah.
Which is creepy as fuck. But like hearing the daughter talk in that awkward conversation that Ellie and Mr. Creed are having, his daughter, like, is kind of like unsettling because he realizes instantly that he done fucked up. You know what I mean? Because it's not her.
Right.
Although the reaction of the mom to the daughter being alive seemed a little weird. Did it not to you? Like when she finds out that Ellie's alive, like all of a sudden she's like, doesn't want to touch her. Like, what?
I wouldn't want to either.
I don't know, man, because like
she looks fucking weird.
Have you never, like, okay.
Like, she's obviously, like, okay.
But have you ever lost anybody and then been like, God, just, I wish they were still alive?
No, and I have, but you know what?
I just, with your child, like, I feel like you would be more accepting than anything.
And absolutely. And I actually tossed this back and forth in my mind about how I felt about her reaction to it.
Right, okay.
But I looked at it from how I would react.
It's justifiable. I'm just saying it was a little weird.
If my kid comes up to me and they look like that... After I know I buried my fucking child and my child is dead. My child got hit by a fucking truck and is dead. I buried it, and now all of a sudden my fucking weirdo husband did whatever the fuck he did, and I know he did something weird because our cat came back weird.
Yeah.
And then my kid comes up to me and looks like a fucking zombie, just without blood and shit all over it. I'm not gonna pick that up in open arms and be crying and excited about my baby being back. Hell no. That's fucking terrifying.
I mean, I get it, but like,
I probably would have kicked it from the beginning.
I think she should have hugged it and then realized.
I feel like it would have played a little bit better to...
Because your instincts are different than what your like mind thinks.
Right. I think it would have played a little bit better to the situation and to everyone watching.
Yeah.
If she would have just embraced it, but subtly.
And then pushed it away.
And then either pushed it away or just like let the embrace like fall apart and then face the fact of like, what the fuck?
I thought the girl,
she was fine.
Dude, she was good, man. Like, she was like dark.
She
like
was
some of
great.
the scenes that she had, I was like, damn, dude. Like, that's like night and day. And like even though I actually had more problem with her normal acting than I did with her fucking, and I'm almost 100% positive they were trying to find a child that could do the dark side more. Like, they wanted him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they were like, okay, let's see if they can go crazy. And she's really dark. Like, there is some fun. Like, the child is, like, when she's just her normal child self, she's not very knowledgeable. But when you see the dead one come back, it's like it has this wealth of knowledge and it acts like an adult. And the performance on her part for being able to convey that to me was really great. Like, I was like, that's believable. And like the whole time when she's talking to her mom after she's stabbing her at the window and shit. That was fucking awesome. I was awesome. Like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was unnerving as
even
fuck.
though it wasn't scary,
that whole scene.
But it was just like, damn, dude, that's some fucking dark shit. And like the mom, she's like, you're not my fucking daughter. I wanted her to say fucking so bad. I was like, just like punch her in the face or something.
It's rated R. Just fucking say it. God.
Kick it in the head over there.
Oh, she kicked it, and I was so excited.
Yeah, that was
like she kicked that kid, and I was like, yes. And I was like,
yeah, but that means that the girl did a good job. If you feel that way, you know what I mean.
The mom kicked her, and I was.
That's
excited.
what I'm saying. The girl did a good job.
I always want them to kick a child.
Oh, well, now you're just being weird.
Every time there's, I don't know how many times we've had this discussion.
I get it, but like,
with like kids in horror movies don't scare me. Like, I'm gonna kick it and be done. Like, it doesn't fucking freak me out. It doesn't scare me. This one I felt like would have been more of a challenge.
Yeah.
In comparison to others.
Right, because she's so smart and crafty.
She's smart, she's crafty, she's bigger.
She's crafty.
Also, she's a fucking 9-year-old. We could probably get into it. And if she's got that big old butcher knife, she's definitely going to stab me. But...
Dude, I love the part where she's like...
kick it.
She's talking to her dad. She's like, I guess mommy doesn't want me. And he's like, no, she loves you.
She's like, it's okay.
And she was like, it's okay, I don't want her either. And I was like,
I like how her voice changes. That was something that I liked a lot, actually. Was how her voice changes when she's talking.
Like, Yeah, no, I agree. I mean,
That was
granted,
cool.
to say like it's not a perfect. You know what I mean? It's not perfect, but I just love. I love that because like everything you like when you watch the original movie, all you're thinking about is like, what is it like in the mind of the kid and the mom and everything. Like you're like, what is it? And then in part two, why I like part two is because they kind of dabble in that, even though it's a shitty movie, they do some dark shit and like. I don't know, like it's very different how they did the Dead in this movie versus the original. Because in the original, they tell that story that Judd tells about that guy coming home from the war and he died on the way home from the war. And when they brought the body back, the dad brought him up to the hill because he was in such grief. And he's all shambling around like a fucking idiot, like a goofy idiot. And so is the second one. They kind of follow the same like goofy. Like all over the place.
I remember nothing from the second movie.
This was like, okay, like this, like they are dark, they're calculated, they're not like...
Smart.
Yeah, they're not stupid, which I kind of like. I kind of thought that was an interesting, like, twist.
That was a twist that I was not upset with. I'll agree with you on that.
I also, one of the things
I liked the end.
Right. We'll get into that in a little bit. I don't want to jump into that just yet. One of the things I wanted to mention is that I really like that they put the darkness, that sort of, I wouldn't say that they pulled off the atmosphere 100% like I wanted it to. Like,
yeah.
Like I didn't feel scared in this movie at all, guys. And like, I wish I could have been, but I still appreciate the attempts that they made when like, Mr. Creed's like going through the fucking forest to go bury his daughter and like seeing the shadowy fucking sort of Wendigo character because they kind of bring that up. I was like, please don't do a Wendigo. Please don't do a Wendigo.
I know.
I was like, just keep it simple. And I was like, thank God. Thank God. Thank God. But they, they tried to paint that darkness, that evil around. They didn't do it well, but I appreciate that they tried it.
A lot of it was very predictable. And that's
sure.
That was what I felt like. A lot of where they tried to do the jump scares.
Oh,
or
there were
the
a few
scare
jump scares.
moments were very predictable. You could see them all coming from a mile away. One got me. Like I wasn't scared by it, but one I was like, dope.
Right.
Like, that was good. Like, good job. I would get everyone. It got everyone in the theater besides Mouse and I, because we're just like, meh. We're seasoned vets in horror films at this point, but everyone else was like, fuck! Like,
I think that plays into it a little bit because we have seen so many, you know what I mean? But
that's a big part. It's difficult to...
Because it might scare some little kid,
in a jump scare.
It might be this might be the movie that scares a child into loving horror. You don't know.
No.
But for us, we're seasoned. But yeah, anyway... I feel like that darkness, that evil that they had and kind of like the background was in the first film, but it wasn't like as present as it is in this film. Like it's a little bit more present and I like it because they explain like why Judd took him to the fucking cemetery. And well, because they were going to bury the cat in the pet cemetery without fucking Ellie knowing on Halloween night. But he looks over at the fucking barrier, the fucking wood thing where the water brushes up the whatever, you know what I mean? These traps that people have died in. And he looks over and you see that little glimmer. Did you see the glimmer in his eye when he looked over? And he was like, you know what? You love your daughter, right? And he's like, yeah, of course. It's like, you loved your cat? Oh, I loved them. I couldn't live without him. And then he was like, well, come with me. And he was like, what are we doing, Judd? But it's almost like that evil kind of manipulated him.
Right.
And that makes more sense to me than Judd going, hey, we should just go bury this fucking cat up in the fucking place where my dog almost killed me. Like that doesn't make any sense for the first one.
It flows a little easier.
Right.
And especially too later on when he says whatever the comment is about, you'll say whatever it is you need to go back to that place.
That explaining is perfect.
And I was like, oh my God, that's
it's
so good.
It's so simple, but it was so perfect.
Yeah, it's almost like a possession.
Well, everybody always complains about that part in the original. Is like, well, why the fuck?
Why?
Like, Judd, what the fuck are you doing? You should be telling the tale of why not to. And here you are taking him up. And I don't know if it just got lost in translation in the movie from book to movie in the original, maybe.
Probably.
It just didn't show the intention but they did a better job of it in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little hard to condense Stephen King. He's pretty long-winded.
So you loved Church.
I really liked it, and I loved the fact that they don't re-kill the cat in this one. I was so excited.
I thought it was interesting, though.
That's the hardest scene for me to watch is when he kills Church.
Well, yeah, when he sticks the needle in it.
It's awful.
Dude,
I still can't watch it.
Yeah, dude, when we watched it last time,
I can't watch it.
I was like, dude, that has to be real because the cat's eyes are open and it's
awful.
It's terrible. And they don't talk about it. And I've looked to find out about it.
And
there's something that they're trying to cover up or something.
The fuck out of me. I cannot watch that scene.
I'm sure they just knocked it out, but even still, it's dark.
I don't like it.
Like, there's something weird about it.
The way it moves and how it acts, it feels real and legitimate.
In the original,
I do not fucking like it at all.
In the original, if you guys remember, they have the scene where he sticks the needle in the ass, and it looks like he actually stuck it in there. And Christina was like, "Oh." And I was like, I don't know if it's a real needle, but then how lethargic the cat acts after he does it is kind of weird. I mean, I'm sure they could have edited it in.
It's uncomfortable. That whole scene's uncomfortable as fuck, and I hate it.
Well, they said no animals were harmed in the making of. In the credits, by the way, I watched all because I have to listen to Christina I's favorite song. I don't want to be buried.
Oh my god,
in a pet cemetery.
I liked the cover of the song.
I didn't like it.
I liked it.
I didn't.
I liked it a lot.
I didn't feel like it.
Did you see?
She was like, I don't want to be buried.
I liked it.
In a pet cemetery.
Did you see who texted the trucker?
Yes, Chris. Hold on. Let's get into that actually because
I loved that. That
Christina
was so dope.
pointed this out to me. So yeah, because go ahead, talk about it.
So in the original movie, the trucker that hits Gage is listening to Sheena is a punk rocker.
Right.
Is that the Ramones?
Yep.
Yeah. And anyway, so in the remake of the movie, the trucker he's not jamming out to music, and I was like, boo. He gets a text message, and he looks at his phone, and it says it's from Sheena. And I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. I have to give Mouse credit on that one, because I didn't catch it at first.
Christina
and Mouse
did.
was like, did you see who texted the trucker? And I was like, no, I wasn't even looking at that. And he was like, Sheena. And I was like, no, genius.
Yeah.
That's fucking brilliant.
Little Easter egg there.
Brilliant. So good.
The song is called Sheena is a Punk Rocker.
Sheena is a punk rocker.
Yeah.
Sheena is.
But yeah, the Ramones, of course, is infamously known as one of, I guess, Stephen King's favorite bands, and did it for the end of the first movie.
It's fun.
But I think it's Skywalker is the name of the band who did the new re-version.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I like the original better. I'm sorry.
I like both. So I'm good with both versions. But I really, really, really missed my Stephen King cameo.
Right.
It's not the same.
Well, I mean, he gave this movie good marks.
He did, which is great.
Yeah, which I'm always a little skeptical about because I feel like some of the stuff that he says he likes, I'm like, not so much.
I don't know.
Some I'm like, yeah, right on, dude. You're right. I agree, but
yeah, and I can see why he would enjoy it. So,
but to hear that I mean, I don't think he's wrong in this movie. I thought it was a decent movie. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, solid.
It's just barely a good, great. It's not a great movie. It's a good remake. I think it's a decent to good remake for most people.
It still feels like it's its own thing,
right?
And they were just like based on a book by Stephen King. There you go. It's got the general sort of premise.
Did you catch something in another Easter egg, by the way? John Lithgow is talking to Ellie, and she says, John Lithgow, playing character of Judd, talks to Ellie, and she says her cat's name's Winston Churchill, and that it was some old guy from the past, in which Lithgow says, oh, I know a lot about Winston Churchill. Christina mentioned, she was like, well, he played him in The Crown.
Oh, makes sense.
So I thought it was a neat little nod. I know a lot about Winston Churchill here.
She's like, you must be really old.
There's also another little minor one that Christina made a big deal about pointing out, but I didn't think it was that big a deal, is that they're in Maine, right? So they see dairy on the sign when the mom and Gage are headed home in a rush. So I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know. But I didn't see anything else. If you guys see any other fucking Easter eggs that we didn't catch, I always love hearing them because it's always cool to find out. I'm sure if I watch it a second time, I'd probably catch a lot more. But you're really just kind of going in for the initial impact when you watch the first movie. But let's talk about some of the changes that they make. We've kind of talked about some of them.
So this wasn't, I mean, it was the same character here, but I felt like Pascal was they lost an opportionally there.
Big time.
Majorly. And
like he wasn't even a character. He was just there. Very limitedly in the film.
He was just there. That's all it was. He was a gory figure in the background. And I'm like, you're not using him. His death wasn't
unique.
No, they're not using him.
I mean, it was unique because he sat up and then he was like, oh! That was like one of those jump scare moments that I wasn't too fond of.
Yeah, I was like, this has happened 1,000 times.
It was cool that it was different, but yeah, like, just the amount of character that was in the original, like, fucking to see this guy, which I don't think it's anything wrong with the actor.
No.
I just don't think that they wrote him in enough. They just kind of like have him as a whispery voice rather than a fucking person chilling out.
Yeah, the Pascal in the original is so charismatic and
funny,
fucking presence.
Yeah,
he's a character. Like he's known and he serves a purpose. This one, not so much. He's just a shadowy figure in the background or a whisper in the wind, and kind of like he's there, sort of, but he's not memorable.
Right,
and that sucks because the makeup work on that character is badass. He looks fucking cool, and I was like, please utilize that more.
Well, and
they don't.
I will say that there was that one part, and I'm sure I mentioned it in the spoiler free for you guys, but there was the part where Gage is in the room and he's screaming about Pascal. He's like, Pascal, 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 and he's like screaming, and then like she comes in and she's like, there's nobody here, baby. And then she turns and he's looking over her shoulder and he's like petrified at the way Pascal is looking at him. And I thought that was kind of unique and different right there. I thought that was cool. Because, I mean, of course, we already know that Gage is not the fucking kid that turns into the, you know, dead person.
He's not.
The other thing that I thought they did pretty interesting with Pascal was that they had these like dream-like sequences that were like something out of Channel Zero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was like Beyond the Door or whatever. Like they had like him walking from his bedroom directly into the forest, which I thought was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool.
It wasn't like, I wasn't like blown away by it. It was just, you know, I was like, oh, cool. Like that's kind of a cool thing that they did there. But again, it took away from Pascal. Like, I feel like they should have added him in there. So, they also, we mentioned talking about Mrs. Creed and why they dig into her. Let's talk about why they dug into her and what we liked or disliked about that. First of all, I think it was a good thing for me personally. I really didn't mind it that much, although some of the Zelda stuff wasn't all that for me. Like, what did you think of the Zelda from the original versus this one?
I don't really care for either.
I like the original Zelda a little bit more.
Yeah, the original Zelda is a little bit more present.
Just scarier to
and
me.
Creepier. I don't know. I don't really care for either Zelda. I felt like the one scene that was like scary, ish, involved her in this one, but I didn't like that they changed.
Are you talking about where she fell down the
where she
fucking
falls
well?
down the thing?
Yeah,
where she
well, that was
looks
like
up.
a jump scare.
It was a jump scare, and I typically hate them, but that one was
okay.
That wasn't one I saw coming.
Yeah,
I was like, oh no, that was
because they do the whole fucking like. She said she kept hearing the little tray going up and down, the electronic thing.
The dumb waiter. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of like her? How she died versus how she died in the original.
I didn't like that they changed that.
You didn't like? Okay.
No, I was.
Why would she fall down the fucking thing anyway?
Exactly. How does she get in it?
She falls down. Like why? She's
the dumb waiter doesn't.
Where's
go to the floor.
my food? Hold on, I fell down a hole.
Yeah, the dumb waiter doesn't deliver to the floor. That's not how it works.
Is that what it's called? Dumb waiter.
It's a dumb waiter.
Yeah.
It doesn't deliver to the floor, so she's not going to crawl into the fucking hole. That doesn't make sense. So she has to crawl up the thing to fall down it? I don't understand. That made zero fucking sense to me, and it was frustrating that they even changed that to begin with.
I don't know. I thought it was just different, I guess.
It was. I mean, it just isn't logical.
Right.
So it's frustrating. And the fact that they changed it from the original, and I'm like, the original's fine. Leave it alone.
Right.
Leave it alone. But they're trying to tell more of a story and give Rachel more of a presence in this one. And
right, but I like how they handled... The one thing I do like is how they wrote this in the movie, though. Because the way they describe it in the original is just like this brief moment. And she's like, I was just so scared.
It's weird.
And I wish she was dead. And like, that's all here in this one. But the way they did it is like... it was like they talk about how she wishes she was dead and everything, but she was trapped in the house with a dead body and she didn't know who to call during that time, which I thought was kind of unique and a little bit more. And they also talk about, like, I don't know, I just thought it was, like, they bring it up again later when she's dying, when Ellie's talking to her mom, and they're like, fucking, she's stabbing her in the side, and she's like, you're not my fucking daughter, or you're not my daughter. And then she stabs her again, and, like, I don't know.
She's telling her, like, there is a place, like, after death, but it's not heaven.
Right.
And you'll know soon.
Right.
You know, because you're not a great person either, because you always prayed that Zelda would die.
Right.
And she's like, you'll see it, you'll find out soon. And then she stabs her, like, real bad for the last time. And I'm like, damn.
Also, the thing about Mrs. Creed, too, that I want to bring up is that they also delve into, like, fucking with her mentally. Like, they were doing the whole Zelda thing throughout the
whole
second act,
movie,
third act with her, too. So it wasn't just Mr. Creed's fucking undoing. It was also hers, which I thought was actually pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Like, I really love that they added more with her, because it made you feel a little bit more for her death.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas the first one, she just kind of dies, and it's all about Mr. Creed.
You're like, I guess
and
she's
how
dead.
he feels. But I thought it was I thought it was a nice touch. I don't know. But I don't know if I felt too great about Zelda's dream segment where she, like, flashes back. I thought it was kind of dumb. I didn't really even know what I thought about her changing into Zelda. Like, I like the idea of it, but I don't know that they delivered it as well as I would hope. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, it just feels weird.
Yeah, it felt a little forced.
Like, I get it. Like, hey, she's Zelda. Zelda had always promised that she would fucking die the same way because she hated her and she knew she hated her. And, like, but I don't know. Something felt a little rushed, or maybe it just didn't
flow.
Yeah, it just didn't work right, but I did love, by the way, the Judd attack scene where
that was good.
That was cool. Like, I love that he kicked the bed away.
I thoroughly enjoyed how they teased it.
Yeah, dude. I was so glad they did that.
Me too. They absolutely teased it the exact same way of how it happens in the original.
A little sleight of hand or whatever.
But it doesn't happen that way.
Right.
Yeah, and he kicks the bed away like, you little bitch. Like, he knows.
Yeah, well, it's almost like it's just a nod to the audience to be like, yeah, we know what's happening.
Yeah, like, we all know you're still going to get your Achilles stabbed, because if you don't, we're going to get pissed.
Fuck, dude. And then
it was so good.
And then he goes downstairs and gets the gun or whatever, and he goes back up to shoot the kid because he knows he's up there, and then he sees the cat, and Church is like, and he distracts him. And dude, fucking the slice that kid did on his ankle, at first I was like, oh, that's weak sauce, and then he pops it out.
She stabs the scalpel completely through his ankle.
Right.
Yeah,
and then pops it out like a large chunk of flesh.
Great.
And I was like, ew, what the fuck? That was dark.
It was good.
I love that. That was kind of good, man.
It's real good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. I was like, fuck, that was kind of worth it. And then she starts stabbing him in the chest like some vicious little shit. And I'm thinking, like, this is a kid. And another thing I really like too that I normally would not like is when Ellie's face turns into his ex-wife. It was so fucking seamless.
Yeah, that was cool.
You know what I mean? She's like,
I didn't necessarily understand what was going on with the story there, but
it's evil. The evil is taking over and fucking with his head.
But it was interesting.
I thought it was cool. I love that it switched back to her when she took the mask off. Or pushed it up or whatever the fuck it was. I thought it was kind of cool. Like, I was like, normally I'm like, oh god, this is going to be a really bad CGI or like fade.
It was pretty seamless.
Dude, they did a really good job on that. So, but yeah, I thought that was really cool. I also liked the change that they made. Because in the original, they talk about Ellie sitting on the couch or sitting in the chair with her dad, talking about death or something like that. And she's like crying on him. And she was like, God can get his own cat, not take mine. And fucking Mr. Creed has this scene where he's like arguing with his Mrs. Creed, like Rachel, about this. And he's like, God can get his own fucking daughter. Hell yeah, dude. That. Like because like she's like talking to Mr. Creed about like how she's dead and it's not real because they run up into the to the room to talk, and he shuts the door. I almost thought he was going to lock it, but he didn't. And then he runs up in the room, and they're talking, and she's like, it's not really her, though. And he was like, why would you do this? Like, why would you do it? And he's like, God can take his own fucking daughter or something like that. I loved that. I thought that was good. I was like, that's what you didn't like. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh, I do, because I remember her saying it.
I remember that from the original. Like, God can have get his own cat or whatever, but I don't remember him saying that to her.
I kind of like that they switched that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we got to talk about the big change. Obviously, like, we already know about fucking, it's Ellie instead of fucking Gage, which I thought, probably part of the reason that they fucking did it in the trailer is because the big reveal at the very end. They're like, well, that's not even the biggest twist. So they're already kind of brazen about showing that.
Yeah. I
really think they shouldn't have. And whoever made that trailer or approved it should have been like, no, we need to do something different. Because
turned a lot of people off.
I think it would have made this score go up on this movie a little bit more. I know that, like, some people love the child, the kid, the guy, the little boy, and I do too. But I, for whatever reason, kind of liked that it was Ellie this time, and it was okay, but I just wish they wouldn't have told me in the trailer. But she kills the mom, and then
the mom kills the dad.
The mom kills the dad.
And you see it this time.
Yeah. And Ellie drags mom's body up to the fucking grave. Before mom dies, she's like, don't bury me in the pet cemetery.
Yeah.
And he didn't, because she gets knocked out.
He gets knocked out by Ellie.
Right. And then they go up and she drags him and bury him, and he comes in, he's like, where is she? And she's like, it's already too late. She's already eating a mouthful of dirt. Just the kind of dialogue that Ellie has with her dad being such an adult is just, I don't know, there's something intriguing about that to me. Mm-hmm. And then he gets stabbed from behind by his wife.
This wrought iron fucking fencing stabbed through him right through the center.
Right, which is great.
And I didn't see that coming at all. So I was like, well, goddamn. Okay.
Well, I mean, I kind of, it definitely was a scenario that could have played out in my head, like, considering that she dragged her up there. I mean, I definitely thought about it, but I liked it. I thought it was a good addition. But I think one of my favorite things about the very end is, like, when all this attacking is going on, like when the mom's getting attacked by Ellie, but the butcher knife, she throws out Gage out the window to the father, and he puts him in the car. Mm-hmm. Well, after all this shit has happened, Gage is still in the car sleeping like a good little boy, and then he touches the window, and you can see, like, the burning building that was in the very beginning of the movie, because they show the burning building and they don't explain why.
Judd's house.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
because they're, like, burning everything down.
Yeah, because the dad has Mr. Creed has the gas can.
Oh, okay.
And he comes back, but it's Judd's house. It's not their house. It's Judd's house.
Right. So they buried Mr. Creed, and all three of them come back, and then the cat fucking jumps up on the hood. I
like that part. Yeah.
I was like,
I was stoked about it.
It's just the dread that I felt for that child.
Yeah.
I thought was really unique, and I thought that was a good ending, and I liked it because it's dark, because it's not a happy ending, and just like the first one wasn't, and it did its own thing. I thought that was kind of cool. Like, I know some people are going to have issue with this movie because they think the first one is like this amazing masterpiece or something, but I think there's room to, like, add some interesting stuff to it, and I really personally don't mind it.
Yeah, I liked how they, like, extended the ending.
I thought it was fun.
It was interesting.
Just seeing a child waiting to die by all these dead.
You're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, like
and then they end how they end it too, with you hearing the car unlock.
Right.
And I was like, boop, boop. Oh.
Yeah, dude. Like, and he's waving at him because he's like, Mommy and Daddy are back.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking dark, dude. I was like, hell yeah.
It was good.
Like, kill that fucking. No, I'm kidding.
It was good.
What did you guys think of that, though? Like, did you enjoy the ending? You don't have to spoil the ending, or did you hate it? Because, like, I know I talked to my buddy last night, Jason, from In the Mic of Madness podcast, and I'm like, he was like, oh, man, I was really disappointed. Me and him don't always agree on everything, but, like, I'm sure, like, it just depends, like, I'm sure it just depends on what you guys are interested in and what you liked about the first one, what you liked about the book. There's a lot of factors here. But personally, I think if you have, if you have the goggles off, I feel like it's a decent movie. I'm going to buy it. I don't mind owning it.
Yeah, I probably won't buy it, but
Christina said that she liked it better than Us, which I thought was a fucking atrocity.
yeah, I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
At all.
You're burning in hell, Christina.
That's okay.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know about that. This is a little too straightforward, more than Us was, like. And some people, I was like reading just briefly some of the other reviews on this movie, and they were like, well, it doesn't really have a lot of depth. It's a little too by the book. And they mean like, like a typical movie. And I'm like, yeah, but it has a history. So it's not like a fresh new movie. It's not Us.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so they have to kind of like traipse on some familiar territory a little bit and kind of fuck with the fans because they obviously are fans, you know what I mean, of the original in some degree. And they saw some of the errors that they had with some of the loopholes with Judd trying to fucking take it. Like, I just love the fact that he took him to the pet cemetery first to bury him and then got changed. Like that, just little things like that really make a difference for me. Although the first act, I'm a little shaky on. I'm like, really like, ugh. Like I was really concerned.
Yeah.
But the fact that it kind of blew me up enough, I really think 7's good. So 6.5 for you, 6.7 for me.
6.57.
7 for me. So about a 7 for up. If you add it up,
Average.
I guess we're pretty much like a 6.75. But
There you go.
yeah.
6.75.
But I think it's a 7, and she's wrong.
Fuck you.
So, what do you guys think of our thoughts on this? There's obviously not that much to dig into like we did with Us, but we hope that you enjoyed that. I'm definitely glad I got to see the movie, and I hope that you guys are too. I mean, it's not going to be my top 2019 fucking movie probably,
No.
unless there's just a bunch of shit pile of fucking movies. I don't think this is a terrible movie though.
So far, we got a pretty decent year set up.
We'll
see what
Midsommar
happens.
got pushed back or pushed up, so we get to see it sooner now, which I'm super excited about. And
I'm just
fucking
excited
next
for
month
scary
we got
stories.
Ma, we got fucking
Brightburn,
dude. That looks fucking amazing. The trailer made me really excited in the
Oh my
theater.
god, I was like, what the fuck is this?
I mean,
I lost my damn mind.
I think it's perfect, and I love how like what's his name does a little bit of a spin on shit.
James Gunn.
Yeah, James Gunn does. He's a superhero fan.
His brothers wrote this movie.
Did he?
His brothers did. Yeah, he's producing it and directing it, or directing it.
Yeah,
but
he's
his
directing it. I
brothers
think.
wrote it and are producing it.
Yeah, Sean Gunn.
There's another one too.
Oh, I don't know.
There was 2 guns on it.
A lot of guns.
Get your ticket to the gun show.
Anyway, guys, next week we're going to be doing our grave
Grave plot.
plots, which is a huge undertaking.
It's a lot of work, yo.
You guys are going to have like literally like a day before we put in, we take one out of the cup because we're going to be recording early next week because it's doing grave plots is literally like a 3 or 4 day project. So I asked Brittany if we could record it earlier on Tuesday, so the day after this episode fucking airs. So, but if you guys want and you want to add one of your fake movie titles to our pile, just give it a look up on IMDb, see if there's anything named it. And then, send us on under our contact section. You can pick the grave plot suggestion, and maybe we'll add it to the pile and make a movie all about the fucking title that you gave to us. And we'll even give you a shout out on the podcast. Plus, make it video VHS cover. And most likely, since I got the time, I'll be making a trailer too, which will be a huge undertaking. So, moral of the story, guys. Don't bury your fucking cat in the pet cemetery beyond the barrier, I think, because he will probably devise a plan to have your family murder you. As you can tell by the end of the movie, he jumped up on the car and organized this whole fucking shitfest. So cats kill, people. Cats kill. But as always,
Stay weird, monsters.
You have been listening to Beyond the Void Horror Podcast.